talk about San Diego State. Usually it starts with the running backs. They've had so many good ones. What do you think of this new one they've got? Or new team?
They got another one. Obviously was a heck of a player at Nebraska. Before that at Arizona Western. And is having a sensational year this year too. And he's quick, he's powerful. He'd play for anybody in the country.
Do you think he'll play on Sundays?
Yes, sir.
You mentioned the power. What is his kind of signature style? Because
he has both. You think back and you go through a good number. Marshall Faulk had both, maybe a little more top end. Ronnie Hillman was extremely quick. Penny had both. This guy's both. He can runs through tackles, and has good lateral quickness too.
And then what kind of skill set are you seeing from quarterback over there?
Yeah, they played 2 last week. The biggest thing is just the movement, how efficient they are in their RPO part of it, what they do in terms of their quarterback movement aspect of it. And then a guy that's been really, really accurate. They've just been so dominant in the running game in most of their contests that they really haven't had to throw it a whole lot, quite frankly. And that probably goes back defensively. There are 2 teams in the country that give up 4 yards of play or less. It's Georgia and it's San Diego State. Rushing, they're number 2 in the country as they only give up 2 yards a carry, or the number 1 in the country as they give up only 2 yards a carry. And then special teams, they block 4 punts. 3 of them went for touchdowns so far this year.
You talk about that run defense. How does it translate against you guys? Obviously, in the past, San Diego State has been one of your tougher opponents. Mm-hmm. How different are they now defensively with the different staff? And then how do you see that matchup?
Well, you can tell. They move exceptionally well. They are large. And it's another group that's been there for a long time. You start looking down the roster of those guys, and there are 3 of them that are stars that even played against us last time we faced, which would have been in 2018, and had good production in that game. And so, they're a really, really strong group, and no matter what you use, any metric or just based upon the eye of the film, they're outstanding. They've already beaten 2 Pac-12 teams. To beat Utah, who probably has a really, really good chance to win the Pac-12 South. They thumped Arizona. But San Diego State thinks maybe they, could win the Pac-12 South too.
Brandon Lewis, I believe, is coming in here. Mm-hmm. What have his contributions meant this year? I know he hasn't seen the ball a lot. I think maybe, 7 or 8 touches on offense. Is that all? But every single one of them has been an impactful carry. To have a guy like that who you have in your back pocket, what's that mean?
He is very, very quick. He's just really a sharp football player, and what it does, it allows you flexibility to move him in a good number of spots, and yet the pride that he's taken as a blocker too. It's neat to see. Just the way he's grown and matured. He was extremely productive in high school. Was a part of a team that won a bunch of football games in high school, and he's just one of those guys you love having as a teammate.
You mentioned growth and maturity, because he played a little bit as a freshman.
A little bit, not a lot.
How is he different now as a player?
He's just a little stronger. He's got a little spark in his eye, where then I think naturally being a freshman, I think especially at the academy, kind of wondered a little bit, can I be assertive? And that's not the takeaway from what we try to train and develop here at the Air Force Academy. It's just I think it's one of the ways we try to encourage our younger guys is, hey, when we come to football, there's not this person has this rank and then the next person has that rank, as it is just trying to encourage him to be it's okay to be really, really competitive, which he is.
And then what have you thought about the defensive line play? I don't think the stats are maybe even designed to be very big here, for the D-line. I remember Mo Fafita never put up, giant numbers, but his value was off the charts. Do you see that same sort of role with the nose guard spot and then the two tackles as well?
I was adamant about Mo Fafita as far as being the Defensive Player of the Year in this league 2 years ago, and it's not always numbers. I think, you can be really, really good in terms of consuming multiple blockers, being able to get close to a quarterback, being able to line up in different techniques, which now expands some of the things you can do defensively. Those are important attributes that we want to have within that unit.
Can you give us any sort of metric that you look at if it's not numbers? I mean, how else can you evaluate them other than, the eyeball test?
And that's probably what it is more than anything else. It really is. Now there are some things that you see as far as being able to play blocks, and some skills, especially when it comes to pass rush, to help a guy improve in those areas too. But as far as anything you can quantify, probably not.
And the nose guard position, how much has it changed now since Mo Fafita was playing? Is it the same spot?
We line up. We're a little more varied in what we do defensively right now. And probably the other part of it, he played a good number of snaps where now it's a little more balanced between Vi and Elijah. Those two guys are, both playing about 30 snaps or so when they're both available.
I was not fully awake for the Sdsu Fresno State game, so I'll be honest with you on that. But like you said,
San Jose State?
San Jose State.
Yes,
sir.
sir.
But there you go. Okay. Is there anything you can take from that game, though, because of how competitive it was and it came down to the final seconds of the game?
Yeah, it went into overtime. Just two really, really good football teams. Clearly, the skill of San Diego State and just the dominance of the way they play. They're really, really good. In San Jose State, they're the defending conference champions. That have a good number of guys that are back, especially on their defense. I know they have a different quarterback in there right now, but it was I didn't stay up either, but I did watch the full film.
I'm glad to hear that.
And I bet it was a heck of a game to watch.
I caught the end of it. Do you prepare for both quarterbacks this week, or do you?
Yes, sir. You have to, right?
Yeah, of course.
One played the first three quarters, played a good bit of the season, and then the other one came in.
I remember in August you kept on saying, we'll see where this defense is at come 6 weeks from now. We're 6 weeks now. So I'd love to know, or a little more than that, where do you feel like this defense is? Do you feel like is it met the standard that you were hoping for when the season outlook began?
These guys, we try to, we always work to go forward. And they do a really good job of working. They appreciate details. And I think probably just as a team, and we've had a bunch of teams that have done this, but they realize the value of the weight room, the value of practice, because now you can transform, you can grow, you can change in a positive way. And then the other part of it is they know you like taking a field when you're exceptionally well prepared and finding a way, especially 36 to 48 hours before kickoff, of being able to really value rest too. Because you train so hard, you got to have a little settle time, and especially within a couple of days of playing.
I know you'll say that the mission is not finished. There's plenty of games to be had, but best start since 2002. Have you had any perspective on that at all, and just looking, full sight on that?
Maybe in 30 years you can ask me, and maybe you will.
Okay.
Not in this moment.
Okay. Final one for me is, of course, a big game against SDSU. What would you say to Falcon Nation and them coming out to Falcon Stadium on a Saturday night here in the beautiful month of August?
Yeah, I think it's going to be like 67 degrees on October 23rd in Colorado Springs, Colorado, against a really, really good team too. So. My goodness. And I know we got to do some things though too. There's some things we got to own when it comes to helping that venue. If you flat love college football, and if you have just a little bit inside of you that you have, some respect and admiration for those that are on a pathway, they haven't earned it yet, to go be an officer in the United States Air Force and for our country, just watch the march on, or watch when the parachuters, when they're able to jump, or right there at kickoff, and boom, what scoots over the top of your head, and you think, that's pretty, That's pretty special stuff.
Okay, go ahead, Julia.
Coach, does it make a difference in the way you prepare for a team when you haven't played them in a couple of seasons or a few seasons versus, maybe you just have the recent film on them?
Yes, ma'am. It sure does. 'Cause you're right. You haven't played them since 2018. It's a brand new staff, new coordinators on both sides of the ball. So absolutely it does. So you're really, really doing a ton of research, not only from this year, but some previous stops that those coaches have had.
And then the O-line getting the midseason honor roll for most outstanding O-line this season. Is that just encouraging to see where the O-line started?
We need to play better. We really do. And we've had a bunch of guys that have been involved in various roles, but we're going to go right out there on that. We're going to go right out there on the practice field. In fact, it might be in here this afternoon. We'll see where we go. But fundamentally, we have to play better, and we can play better. And most importantly, we want to play better and make that kind of commitment to improve.
Hi, Brandon. How's it going?
It's going good. How are you?
Good. So I noticed you are from San Diego, playing San Diego State this weekend. Did you ever kind of grow up thinking maybe you'd want to play football at San Diego State?
I don't know. I never really thought about it, but I think this would be a cool experience to play my hometown team, so I'm excited.
And this year it seems you're kind of making the most of the opportunities you're given. You may not get a ton of touches, but when you do, it seems, you're making the most of it. So what's just been this season like for you and just what you've been able to do out there on the field?
It's been a lot of fun just to go out there and make plays for my team. I'm just trying to do my best every time I'm given an opportunity, and that's all I can do. The coaches are putting me in good positions to make plays. Zeke's throwing good balls, and the O-line's blocking well, so it's working out.
Where do you feel you've improved most coming into this year and even, halfway through the season now?
I would say mentally, just the game of football has slowed down a lot for me throughout the years. And also, I've put on weight since I've been here, so physically, being able to block and things like that, I've improved on since I've been here.
And, we know you guys embrace that 1-0 mentality each week. The focus is on San Diego State, but you guys get that big win at Boise, become bowl eligible. So just how are you guys feeling as a team right now?
We feel good, but we understand that there's work that still needs to be done. We still have plenty of good teams in front of us, and this week will be a good test to see where we're at. So.
Sure. And then off the field, kind of tell me what you do for fun when you have free time here.
I like to watch movies. I like to just hang out with my friends. But yeah. We don't have a lot of free time, but when I do, I like to just relax.
Is there a movie that's your favorite?
I wouldn't say I really have a favorite movie, but I like horror movies, which I know is a little weird, but that's like my favorite genre, usually what I go to. That or like rom-coms.
Rom-coms?
Yeah, I like rom-coms.
Can you give me your favorite rom-com?
I like 50 First Dates. It's a great movie. It's a classic.
Going up against San Diego State, obviously they're a good, top rushing defense. But for you personally, what's the mentality, and then what do you guys just have to do offensively to maybe, open up some things for the offense?
Yeah, we're going to stick to what we do, just like we do every week. We're going to run the ball well, and hopefully that opens things up in the pass game. So, I don't think much changing for us, but this is a really good team, so we'll see how it goes.
Do you think this is a chance to make a statement this week for you guys?
Yeah, every week you play is a chance to make a statement, especially when you're playing in the Mountain West against a bunch of great teams. And this is just another test for us and another chance to show how good we are.
Are you, when it comes to horror movies, are you like an old school guy, like, Jason, Freddy Krueger, or more of the newer horror movies?
I like both. I know they just came out with the new Halloween Kills movie. I plan on watching that sometime soon, maybe the bye week. But yeah, I like a mixture of both.
So you're hoping to be Freddy Krueger or Jason to San Diego State this week, right?
Maybe, man. We'll see.
What's the vibe like on campus and maybe even in practice? Because this is one of the biggest games, maybe in the time you've been here.
We're trying to keep spirits high, stay motivated. But at the same time, it's just another game. Pretty much all of us have been playing football our whole life. We try not to make the situation bigger than what it is. It's just another game. And we're going to go out there and give it our best shot.
Zeke, I feel like, just keeps on getting better each week. Have you seen that as offense? Is it more comfortability in the offense, or where do you think he continues to improve?
I think he continues to prove in all assets, in the pass game, run game, mentally, also just being a leader of this team. You kind of see him grow, and he's gotten a lot more comfortable being a leader. So I'm really impressed in seeing what he's done this year.
In 2002, where were you at?
2002.
I know that's a hard question.
I don't know. I was a baby.
You were a baby still?
Either in Seattle or San Diego, one of the two.
Has it hit you that that's the last time the Air Force has had this great of a start was back then when football probably wasn't much on your radar? Is that sunk in all to you guys at all?
I mean, yeah, it's cool. It's cool to be a part of this team and have such a great start. But we understand that there's still, games in front of us, and we still have more games that we want to win. So, I mean, we're not trying to make it bigger than what it is. We're just taking it one game at a time.
I know bowl eligibility was one of the parts of the preseason checklist of things you wanted to accomplish this year. Is there anything else, like was a top 25 team on that list? I know winning the CIC was of course on there, maybe went in the Mountain West, but was a top 25 team on that list at all?
I mean, our goal just throughout the season was just to go 1-0 in everything we do, whether that's in the weight room, practice field, or in the game, just to go 1-0. And we know as long as we do that, those milestones and goals will slowly be accomplished.
I know playing at home is so important, protecting Falcon Stadium and winning there. If you had a message to the fans of Air Force, what would that be for this weekend's game?
It's going to be a great game. It's going to be a fun one.
And did you ever take an official visit to San Diego State, or
I think they did like a hometown day, and I went to that, and I went to like their junior day. So I've been at the campus multiple times. I did like passing league tournaments there, so I've been there before.
Was there an official offer?
No, I was never offered by Sdsu.
Was that disappointing?
It was all right. I kind of wanted to leave San Diego, kind of venture out. So I'm glad I'm here.
Is there any, like I think Paul Pierce always remembered the teams that didn't draft him and always kept a list or things like that. Is that something, are you the type that thinks about that at all?
No, I don't think about that at all. I'm here now, and I'm trying to make the most of my opportunity of where I'm at, and I think I made a good choice coming to the Air Force Academy.
And with the way you're being used, how do you handle that when you only get maybe one or two chances a game and you've seized those? But is it hard to kind of grasp why you're not getting more when the production has been what it's been?
No, I mean, the coaches, I trust their game plan every week. And every time I'm given the opportunity, I'm just going to make the most of it. And football is a lot bigger than just touching the ball, having the ball in your hands. I'm out there blocking the best I can if I'm out there on run plays and giving effort in every asset that I can. So, I mean, the game of football is more than just touching the football. So.
And how big of an adjustment has it been to go from the slot spot to the wide receiver position?
It hasn't really been that big of an adjustment. It's something that I've done in the past. I think my very first play here ever, I played at X. And I've played the slot position for most of my career. So I understand how it all works. And I think, if anything, it's helped me understand the offense more and the importance of everyone doing their job. So, I mean, it hasn't been a big adjustment for me, and I think the coaches have done a great job preparing me for it.
So in the course of a game, are you only lining up there now, or are you kind of shifting around play to play?
It just depends. We have certain personnel sets where I can go in at slot or tailback or X. I know all three spots, and I'm comfortable in all three spots. So.
And the catch you had, I think it was the 3rd and 8 at Boise. Air Force doesn't face a lot of obvious passing situations, but the past few weeks when you've hit on them. Do you see a difference in coverage when teams actually are expecting Air Force to pass, and how have you guys been able to be so good in those spots?
Yeah, I mean, Coach Deason's doing a great job calling plays and putting me in a position and looking at coverages and, techniques that they're playing throughout the game to try to find a spot that we can, maybe hit on. So the coaches are doing a great job, and I'm just trying to do my best to execute when I'm given the opportunity.
How cool was that for you to have that big catch, at a key spot in that game?
Oh, it was awesome. The game was super fun. It was a great atmosphere, so I had a lot of fun out there.
And now that you guys have had, you've had a lot of big wins over the past few years, but now that you have one as this team, at Boise, how addictive is that feeling? And do you want to have it again and again and again?
Yeah, I mean, I think it motivates you, to want to be better. Like I said before, we're going to play a lot of great teams coming forward, here. So I think we're just living in the moment, taking one game at a time and enjoying, just trying to have fun out there.
So how do you,
Thank
what do you go by? Is it Vi or is it, I think that's what Coach said.
Oh, yeah, so the team calls me Via. It's just short for Kalavaya.
Vi is how you pronounce it.
Yes.
Okay. Now, coming from Hawaii, had you really left the islands much before you came here? What was your upbringing like in terms of travel?
Yeah, so luckily I was actually able to travel a lot. My brothers played in Annapolis, so I had the opportunity to go up there a few times. And then we take family trips to California. So I was able to see pretty much just the coast, but I got to travel the States a little bit.
So your dad went here, right? Did he play
Yes.
football here?
No, he didn't.
Okay. And then you have brothers who went to Navy.
Yes.
How did they end up there when your dad was a grad? And then what was your process like?
So, I mean, my dad opened the academies to them when they were in high school, and really it was just Coach Niamatalolo with his Hawaii ties. When they were in high school, it was my brother kind of started a very big pipeline to Navy with all the Hawaii guys. So between around 2009 to about 2015, there was about, I want to say, 8 to 10 of them that ended up going out there. And then with me, my dad going to the academy and then my brothers going to Navy, I kind of grew up wanting to come to an academy.
So how much gap is there between you and your brothers? Sounds like a pretty big.
Yes, so my oldest brother is 10 years older than me, and then my second oldest brother is 7 years older than me.
Okay. Are you the youngest?
No, I have a little sister, so there's 5 of us. I have an older sister and then a younger sister as well.
Was part of you wanting to not go where they went? Was there a rebellious streak? Cause I'm going to go to Air Force because you guys went to Navy, or did it just work out?
Nah, I think it's just the way things worked out. I definitely like the even divide in the house. Makes a rivalry week really fun, especially since I have my dad on my side.
That's awesome. And last year when it came to the turnbacks, I'm curious. You would have had an opportunity, I assume, to go back. Was there, and especially because your upbringing probably a little bit different, being on the island, was there a pull to come back, and why did you end up staying?
It was a conversation I had with my parents, and we just decided that staying was probably going to be the best for me. It wasn't anything about distance or anything like that. I think it was just coming here and, just getting through was the main thing about staying.
And the position you're playing, what on most downs, what are you asked to do? Is it just kind of hold your ground as opposed to go make a tackle, or and I know it's going to vary based on formation and everything else, but as a general rule, kind of what's your role?
Being a nose guard, it's really just staying stout in the middle. More often than not, I'm going to get double teamed. So it's really just trying to hold that double team at the line of scrimmage, and really just go let our linebackers flow and go make plays.
And then, because if you're getting double teamed, I know Jordan Jackson's seeing a lot of double teams.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a big part of the defensive success you guys have had? Is you guys able to eat up so many blockers and free everybody else up?
Yeah, Coach Cowsett really puts an emphasis on that for us, especially me and Jordan on the inside. It's just setting the point. For me, taking on double teams, and he calls us the tip of the spear. So just setting the tone that way.
And do you feel like you guys have been successful at what you've been asked to do up front?
For the most part, I'd say yes. We've been pretty successful, I'd like to say.
And then how do you like the rotation? Do you like not playing every down because you are a little fresher when you're out there? Or is there part of you that wishes you could get into more of a flow of the game?
I mean, at times there's points where I would like to play more, but I mean, I've talked to Coach Sheridan and Coach Calcett, and you know, having fresh guys in is always very important. So I mean, I understand why, and I'm behind them fully with that decision.
And then playing, San Diego State team that's known for running the ball, does that play into your hand? You know, obviously you guys are built to stop the run first and foremost. Like, do you see this as a favorable matchup in that respect?
San Diego State, they've been very successful this season with the run. It's going to be a good test for sure, especially going into Army the week after. I'm looking forward to the opportunity to playing a very good team.
Did they remind you of an offense you've seen in your time here?
Not really. Watching film yesterday, noticed that a big play for them is outside zone, which is something that we generally haven't seen a lot of in the way that they run it. So it's going to be different, but it'll be a good test.
So explain that to a person who isn't an expert. An outside zone. What are they trying to develop on that play when they run it?
So outside zone is really just trying to get the ball outside of the tackle. Inside zone is primarily from tackle to tackle in most cases. So outside zone, their O-linemen are going to be perpendicular shoulders to the line of scrimmage for the most part, and they're just trying to get the ball outside.
Okay. So how do you defend that?
I mean, it's just going to be getting vertical pressure on the O-linemen, knocking them back, and then just staying in your gap, staying gap sound, because with running outside, the running back can cut the ball back at any point in time. So it's just staying in your gap and just being disciplined that way.
And what's your major, and what do you want to do?
So I'm a management major, and I've been looking into going into the Space Force. To the Space Force.
Okay. And as like an acquisitions type officer, or what would you want to?
Acquisitions, or I've been looking into space ops as well, which is satellite tracking. I had a teacher at the prep school that did something similar, so I've kind of been interested in that since he brought it up.
And with a win Saturday, you guys very likely would be in the top 25 and be, kind of in the driver's seat in the Mountain West too. Like, do you think about the stakes that are at play as you approach this game?
Yeah, I mean, it's a thought that's crossed my mind, and something that we've talked about in the locker room. Obviously, making the top 25 would be awesome, but it's really just sticking to us, making sure that we're ready. And, if we get the win, then that'll be awesome.
And I'm scared, coming from Hawaii, like, what was the competition jump like coming? Because, you're from Oahu, right?
Yes.
So you're still playing a lot of big schools.
Yes.
Are you seeing a pretty consistent high level of play?
Yes, for the most part. My conference back at home, there was only 2 teams. So Punahou, which is where like Manti Te'o went, and then there's St. Louis where Marcus Mariota and Tua Tagovailoa went as well. So the offensive linemen that they have are at a very high level. So, the competition that I've seen coming from there and then coming up here, I'd like to say wasn't a big jump. Obviously playing college football, there's a jump there, but for the most part, I'd like to say I've played a high level of competition.
Is Kahuku over there too?
Yes, they're in the public school conference, so I wasn't able to play them in a game.
When you look at SDSU, you're going to try to make them one-dimensional, stop the run. So this week, 2 quarterbacks played last week against San Jose State. What have you seen between both those quarterbacks, and what are you trying to prepare for with them?
For the most part, we've only been looking at their running ability. We've only had 1 day of film, we haven't seen a lot of what they can do. From what I've seen, they're decent runners. So they'll run like a read outside zone. Well, they'll keep the ball, and they're pretty talented on their feet. So it's just going to come down to just staying disciplined. Yeah.
I know it's a 3-game stretch you guys have talked about. YO, Boise, and then SDSU, and it was 1 game at a time. We were going to stack them all together. But if you look 50-50 and look back, and if you guys are able to sweep that, what do you think statement-wise do you think that says?
I mean, I think it just shows how good of a football team we can be. You know, it's a pretty tough stretch that we're in the midst of right now. And I think as long as we just stay focused, stay as a team, and just continue to focus on us, we'll be better at the end of it for sure.
Best start since 2002.
Mm-hmm.
Have you put that in perspective? I'm guessing you're probably like 4 or 5 years old when that last happened.
Yes.
Perspective-wise, have you looked at that and seen like, oh my goodness, like that's pretty impressive, pretty remarkable?
It's something that I haven't thought about too much yet, just because, I mean, I haven't had much time to really like sit down and really analyze it. But I mean, it's awesome to be able to get to such a great start, you know, and be bowl eligible this early. Yeah, it's just a great opportunity. Very happy with the way the team has been performing lately.
Because of the magnitude of this game, is there a little bit of a different vibe in practice, or is it just kind of business as usual for you guys?
For the most part, I'd say it's business as usual. I mean, you know, 2 to 3 times a year we have very big games, you know, with the academies, and then obviously Boise. But I mean, having so many big games in one season for us really helps us when it comes down to something like playing a top 25 team like this. And it really helps us just stay focused.
Do you think this is the biggest game up to this point in the time you've been here?
I mean, there's been a lot of big games, so I can't really say. But it's definitely they're a good team, so it's going to be a good test for us.
Do you think good football teams kind of make good things happen as far when it comes to the luck department? It seems like you guys everything is going your way right now. And is it because you're a good football team, or it's just circumstance?
I'm honestly not sure.